Hello, I'm David from David's Overy Electrical, and this afternoon I'm playing with some horrible waterproofing gunk. When I say gunk, we're talking about three different types specifically. There's this F4P Wonder Gel stuff, which is about £20 from City Electrical Factors. We're also looking at a couple of Raytech products. This is Galactic Water Stop, no less, available for £15 for 2 packets from Toolstation by the looks of it, and I've got a feeling that I haven't actually got much left of that one, so it's a bit of a shame. And also another Raytech product here, Magic Gel 1000. Now these all look a bit used and beaten up. That's because they are indeed used and have been on the van for a while, being used in various applications, so I'm fairly used to them and fairly used to how awkward they can be, some of them anyway. So we'll have a look at that today. Now the idea of this sort of stuff is that, so you've got something like this. What we have here is a little connector block in an IP box, and you want to keep it safe from moisture. Then you can encase the components within the box, and in fact there's probably a pretty picture of that on this this Raytech box here, where they pour the stuff in, and it creates a gel that keeps liquid away even if the IP rating of the box should be compromised and water get in. That's the theory. I mean, personally I wouldn't probably use chop blocks like this in a box anyway. I don't tend to like those sort of things, but for the purposes of this demonstration I'm sure that's going to be perfectly fine. So let's have a play first with the this sort of stuff. Oh yeah, there's another thing I need as well actually, was a load of toilet paper, so to speak, because this is going to get very sticky. And you can see from this stuff the sort of consistency we're talking about. It's like some kind of alien snot, and you can sort of mould it and slap it and gunk it wherever you want. Now it's all well and good, and yes, that does look fairly well sort of enclosed and encased. You can use it to block up holes and things like that, as well as covering up electrics. The only trouble with this stuff I've found is that when you go back to it after some time, it also seems to have sort of congealed into a bit of a ball and lost its stickiness around the edges. So I don't know, I'm not convinced about that sort of stuff. It is re-enterable, so if you need to get back into it, you can just ungunk it like that and get back to your component parts should you need to do any fault finding or changes to it. But like I say, it just seems to sort of lose its elasticity and bounce back into this ball shape after a while, and you sometimes find that holes you thought that were plugged or components you thought that were covered aren't so anymore. So I don't tend to use that anymore, which is why this has been hanging around in the toolbox forever. Moving on, I'm going to need my gun for this next one, because this is where it gets really horrible. This is the F4P Wonder Gel stuff from City Electrical Factors. 20 quid a tube, and that's supposed to be protecting my... Oh Christ. Moving on, we have the F4P Wonder Gel stuff. Like I say, this is about 20 quid from City Electrical Factors. Can't remember if that was ex-VAT or not, but this is much the same as the Raytech stuff, except in a tube that you can squirt this horrible stuff out of. I've got to say, I don't like this at all, and you'll see why as I try and get it in the box. It just will not stick to anything except its own nozzle. And you can't get decent coverage. It just doesn't seem to go where you want. So that's not covering the block at all, and it's an absolute git for sticking to your skin and leaving a horrible residue. So you can sort of get it in there eventually, although I'm not convinced that's gone sort of under the connector where I want it to be as well. Whether or not that also shrinks back, I don't know. I haven't played with it for long enough, but it's pretty nasty stuff. I don't know that I'll be buying any more of that. Yeah, just get it out of here. I mean, it sort of does the job, but it is just a fight to get it out of the tube and onto the components where you want it. Here's where the tissue comes in. And like I say, it just leaves this horrible residue over absolutely everything. I'm going to have to go off and wash my hands now. Okay, that's got rid of most of the sticky horribleness on my hands. So this is the last one we're going to look at, the Raytech Magic Gel 1000. This one isn't pre-mixed, you have to mix it yourself, so it comes with a jug, the 2 bottles and the stirrer. Again, these I've all seen a fair bit of active use out and about on site where I've needed to seal some various bits of garden lighting and stuff. You mix it in about a 50-50 ratio. I seem to have more of the blue stuff than the white stuff, so I guess I've not been getting my ratios quite right before, but it's not too precise. Give it a bit of a stir. And the advantage of this, of course, is because it's liquid, it's going to get into all the nooks and crannies when we pour it into our box. Yeah. Right. So let's just slap that in there. And of course, like I say, it covers everything. If I had a bit more of the gel, I could fill the whole box if I wanted to, but seeing as I'm a bit short, a bit light on it, I'm just going to do it at a bit of a funky angle. Now then, let's just lean that back there while it sets. And when it sets, we're going to have quite a tough, elasticy consistency, which isn't going to shrink or break. I'm going to have a cup of tea. We'll come back to that and see what it's doing in about 10 minutes time. I'll make it 3 of your 17 Earth hours. Here we are, 10 minutes later, and a very nice cup of tea that was too. Now let's have a look and see what's going on with our gel here. It's well, as you can see, it's not moving. It's gone pretty hard. Just got a screwdriver there so I can give that a bit of a prod. You can see that's pretty firm, and that's not bad stuff at all. Because it's a liquid, again, it gets into all the nooks and crannies, unlike the other two, and there's no way it's going to sort of shrink back into a ball or anything. As you can see, if you don't have to waste a whole load filling a whole box. It doesn't matter if water gets into that now. Our little chop block in there is perfectly safe, and isn't going to get any moisture on it. So that's pretty good stuff. I do use that a fair amount when I'm doing junctions outside, especially for ground lighting, even if it's 12 volt stuff, just to keep the moisture at bay, really, keep things clear. There's one other thing to mention, and that's this Galactic Mammoth stuff, which is another Raytech product. I've used this a few times before as well. Again, quite interesting stuff. It clips shut, so you have to use a screwdriver to open it. The trouble with this is there's no cord grip in it. But again, I use it for sort of low voltage DC stuff, LED lighting, that sort of stuff. But this comes with the preset gel, so you can take your connector block or whatever, and as you close it together, that's gonna get completely squished within the gel, and it's going to stay dry. And as you can see, it's re-enterable. The gel sort of springs back into shape if you open it back up again. So that's pretty good stuff. That's also available at places like Toolstation, according to my latest catalogue here, at £18.48 for 3. So fairly expensive stuff, but for external junctions, can't go wrong really. And that's it really. That's me finished playing with gunky stuff for today. I'm going to go and wash my hands again and try and dig that connector block out so I can reuse that box. But as I say, the mixing stuff is the best thing to work with. The other stuff, I'm not convinced.